Hello, my friend, it's Tony González from Made in Metal, and today we are going to speak to Sirius Black, and especially Mario Lochert, the bass player, songwriter from the band, and the band is going to release a new CD in 2 weeks. How are you, Mario?
Hello, hola, and everybody. It's great to be in a conversation with Spain again. I love Spain, and I'm actually really fine, it's turning out in a very good release. We have a lot of interviews, we have a lot of work, and I think we did a fantastic album. So let's see which questions has Tony to me, and then let's see what we are figuring out in the next time.
Can you tell me, Mario, the name of the CD, the title?
The name of the CD is Vengeance is Mine.
I have read the promo, and the promo said that this is the album of our life, according to the song with the same title. Why did you choose that title, Mario?
Well, actually, I think many review or magazines or anyway, also the record company, they misunderstand the twice meaning of this. Of
Yes.
course, it's the album. It's not the album of our life, because this is we are not reached the zenith, the top, right, of our career now. So it couldn't be the album of our life, but it means it's the album of my life, or of the band's life. We are telling in this record about our past years, and that's what I wanted to show. That's the album about our life, right?
Yes, but of course, I don't know why they confuse. I thought that you were thinking that this is the best album that you have written in your life, or maybe the best until now.
Well, the best until now, I think, but it's very private. The complete album. It's based on real stories, what happened to us in the last years, right? And we take care, and of course, if it's the best album, I think this is the taste of everybody. Everybody has his own taste, and probably. Some fans say, well, As Daylight Breaks was the best album. Some will say Magic was the best album. Probably some bands, some guys will say, well, I listen more to Halloween or to Hammerfall, right? So it's a question of taste, actually, right? But for me, this album is very special because 23 years ago, when I entered the music industry, right, my musical career, right, I promised to myself that I never mix up. I would never mix up my private life with my business,
Yes.
But this time I had no chance, because so many strange things, bad things were happening in my life, in the band's life, that I said, okay, now it's time. I have to do it one time and never again. But we did it, and I think we did it in a very good way.
Mario, but what they say, never say never.
I'm pretty sure that I don't do it again. This is 23 years. I was not jumping with my private life now inside, but this what happens, and I think we will talk about in this interview about it. You will see how bad were the things, what were happening, and I had a few reviewers. They were sitting there like this, on the interview. You saw them that they recognized it in a very, very, very fucking good way. And I'm pretty sure that you will be also flashed about the story. You know, we can't tell the complete story now because otherwise we are sitting tomorrow at 10 o'clock still here. And but I can give you a few, and all people who are interested in this album, right? And in this what was happening, they should buy the CD, and when you read between the lines, you know, then you know exactly what happens.
Yes, in our case, Made in Metal Spain, let me tell you that we respect your private life and all the private life, because our main interest is the music. And in the music, there is something with Sirius Black that now has changed. That is that you have a new singer that is Nicola Midget. Yes, tell me, where did you find him?
Yeah, well, where did you find him? But I think we should start a little bit in the front, you know, how it was going on to get to Nicola, right? Well, the reason was we were yeah, in the beginning or the last years, we were working with Urban Breed together, you know, and Urban actually he's a very good singer, you know, anyway, but from album to album, you know, it was more difficult to work with Urban, you know. He was starting a fuck off attitude, actually, right? Mm-hmm. So this means, for example, he delivered his stuff 6 weeks after the third deadline, right? So this was really hard. Then, well, on the last tour with Hammerfall, right, he was not showing up on the sound check or to the sound check, you know. And well, when the crew members were asking him why you're not showing up for the sound check, right, he said, yeah, well, my band can't play their instruments, so why should I should show up on sound check and stuff like this, you know. And it was crazy that, well, 3 or 4 days before he left, right, he was writing us a message in Facebook Messenger, and he wants to excuse himself about about the behavior in the past years, right? And we were actually like, whoops, cool, but we don't reply at the same moment, right? So after 3 days, we talked a few days what it's looked like, and we thought it's something strange, you know. Suddenly our mobiles were ringing, ding, 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 and there were magazines, there were our crew and stuff like this, and they said, what's going on? We were under pre-production for the new album, right? So everything was scheduled, the release date, the tour, and so on, right? And well, we called the record company, and the record company said, we don't know anything, right? They were shocked as well somehow. And then as we checked out the post of Urban that we are, that he's leaving the band, right? He wrote all excuses, what he wrote us in his chat. He twisted around and said, we fucked up his music. We were not working with him and stuff like this, you know. It was totally strange. It was just lying around, right? And yeah, well, you know, it was strange. And then, of course, we had to move forward to write songs, you know, to write to make this everything possible. And of course, we knew we need a new singer, right? And well, a lot of singers were coming up, were writing us emails, hey, we are interested in this position, right? And we did a kind of audition, right? And well, we sent out a few to a few singers the track "Rock With Us Tonight," because this was already done nearly, also with the lyrics. And we received back a very good response of them, you know, very good demos. But it was nothing there where you said, wow, you know. So we had a call with the record company, and they said, yeah, probably Nicola of Riddenscurse somehow, right? And probably this is your guy, right? So I get in touch with Nicola, and I sent him over the stuff, and he said, yes, I do. I do a quick demo and stuff like this. And there was 3 weeks, nothing, no reaction, nothing. So we were searching and searching, and suddenly at 2 o'clock in the morning, the Facebook Messenger was going ding. Hello, Mario. This is Nicola. I was stressed. I had absolutely no time. So I just sent you, or I recorded you one chorus, one bridge, and one verse. And if you like it, it's okay. If not, well, I had no time. So I pressed play at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? And I was, wow, fucking hell, that's it. And then it was coming my revenge, actually. And I was calling him at 2:30 in the night, and we talked till 4 o'clock, right? And we were talking about the business, how it's running and stuff like this. And 2 days later, he was in the band, and then we managed everything, you know. It was going very fast, and I think it was good that this was happening, right?
So when you tell me this story with the previous singer, I understand that situation like this made the rest of the musician feel bad because of this kind of relationship. However, in the CD, Revenge is Mine, we cannot see anything of that. Or can we see?
Of course you can see.
Yes.
If you're listening to the song Just for You, and you read the lyrics, this is, for example, written for Urban, actually.
Wow, good.
And if you listen to Alea Acta Est, it's the last song.
Yes, the last song.
It's also going on this thematic, you know. So you see, when you read between the lines, you know exactly what is going on here. And yeah, well, the other thing, you know, the second Vengeance is Mine. It has something to do with my past, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I met 4 years ago, you know, I met a girl and I fell in love immediately, right? And well, she was taking drugs every day, right? And I was the only guy who was taking care about this, not the parents, not the family. I was the guy, you know. I was putting my interests, my free time, my spare time. I put this complete back, you know, to help this girl out of the shit. I gave her a new life. My family and me, we were searching for you a job, right? I built for her a hairdresser, shop or yeah, how
Yes.
you ever call it, hairdresser studio. Well, and you know, I paid everything because I said, okay, when you are done with everything, you need your money when you are self-employed, right? And so I paid the flights, I paid the holiday, I paid the food, the drinks, the electricity, everything. I built a house, you know, and stuff like this. And yeah, well, thank you for her. And you know, I get in the 4 years now, I get the yeah, well, other men were calling during the night. They said, we want to have fun with you. And she said, well, I'm not in the mood for it, right? And I said, fucking hell, you have a boyfriend. Just tell this person's, you know, or this other man's, you know, tell them you have a boyfriend, and that's it, right? And I get a fight for this. And when you listen to Out of the Ashes and Album of Our Life, actually it's the album of my life and her life, right? It was like this, that I get a fight 2 hours about because other people shouldn't know that she has a boyfriend, and it was not allowed for me to give her the hands on the Christmas market, for example, because somebody could see us, you know. And I asked her, what's going on, what's wrong, you know, why you are ashamed of me, you know. And I said, is it because I'm a rock musician, I'm tattooed, I have long hairs, I'm not 1.90 meters tall, I don't have a six-pack. And she looked at me and she said, probably a little bit of everything. And this was crazy, you know. So, but I stayed together with her because I loved her. And I was going out, I was scratching her, the eyes of the window. I put a heater in the car that she could jump in the warm car, you know. I was making her sandwiches for work every day in the morning. It doesn't matter when I go to bed, you know. I made it for laugh, you know. And then it was coming this day. One day before, she was laying on my chest, and she said, I never want to leave you anymore. You are the best thing what happened to me, and you gave me a new life, right? And 12 hours later, she was leaving me with the words, I don't care what you have done for me and I have not done for you. And if I say from today on, you are a fucking bastard, you have to live with this. And this was actually a very, very hard stroke in my heart, you know, and in my brain. And well, a few weeks later, I called with her ex-boyfriend, right? And because some things were weird, you know, what she was telling about him. And I never met this guy. I never saw this guy. I don't know even how he looks like, right? And I just find out his number. I called him and I told him who I am. And suddenly he started to explain, to tell me a story, right? What was exactly my story from the beginning till the end. Exactly this. And he said, well, it will not take a long time, you know, then she will find another guy who has a little bit more money, who give her, say, a certain life and stuff like this. And I said, hey, stop. We are just 3 or 4 weeks split it now, right? And then I received 4 days later a call from a friend, and he said, well, what the fucking hell is doing your girlfriend on my neighbor's place? And this was actually the point where I said, okay, I get cheated 4 years for nothing. You know, I was giving up myself for a person who loved to bring her out of the shit. And now, you know, it's time to start writing. Of course, I was totally broken in the first thing, you know, and I was starting to write, you know. And if you saw the covers, the album covers, you know, of our past albums, you know, on the Magic album, it was Urban, for example, you know, the magician. On the last album, Sweet 226, there was Rami as lunatic guy on it, right?
Yes.
And now on this album, the lion, the leone, right? The lion, it's me, it's my zodiac sign. And if you see on the between the feet of the lion, you see a crown, a diadem of a princess.
Yes.
And I pressed this down because I was nearly broken, but now the lion is back. I'm coming out with a fantastic album, and nothing happenings without a reason. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It has everything what happens has a reason, and if this is the reason that I go up and stuff like this, well, then this was the plan of the universe to me. You know.
Yes, Mario, listening to this story, I understand that maybe you suffered in the past, but it was a toxic relationship. And in the future, I'm sure that you will see and say, woof, it happened, it passed, and you will take it with a different mood. So when I was checking the album, Mario, there is a song called The Story. And I didn't know finally if it's a wedding song or an anti-wedding song. What do you think about this story? Is it related with this relationship? No.
Well, actually, this song, you know, it's a cover song from a very known country artist in the States, you know, and the lyric of this song, you know, it shows exactly it was fitting to his album in a very good way, you know what I mean? And that's why I also the lyrics, you know, they are going really deep, you know, and it was the same what was on me, you know. Outside, you know, I showed to everybody, yeah, it's everything running, right? of course, inside you had, for example, the lyrics. You know, all our friends think I am blessed. You know, I'm blessed, but they don't know what happened to me, as you do. You know, and this was working this in a great way that I had to that I said we have to record this song. And well, for me, this song is also a very special one. You know what I mean? It's giving so much hope and so much soul, even if it's a tragical story. The complete album has a tragical story, but we build it in very funny melodies, you know, that everybody can sing it, stuff like this. And this was not easy. But anyway, the song story, I love this song, and I think we made this song in a very special way and in a very good way. So people like this song a lot, and I think you too, because otherwise you wouldn't give me the question.
Yes, I enjoy this song a lot, but my favorite song from this CD, I will pay attention again when we finish the interview to the song that you mentioned, Alea Yacta Es and this, but my favorite now is one that you didn't select as a single, but it's really good, like the rest, and this, Tonight I'm Ready to Fight. Tell me about the song.
Actually, it's my fight, you know. Yes. But I say, okay, I'm going with this, you know, with the few what I give the fans and the world, you know, to my heart and to my soul, you know. I had to fight with it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I have to do it, you know. And if somebody, the other person, what I told you before, or the other persons, you know, they I was saving their face, you know. I don't told anybody outside what's happening, you know. And even if for example Urban were delivering too late, you know, I put my head between Urban and the record company, you know, to say, okay, I will fix it somehow, you know. And in the end, I'm now the guilty guy, you know. Also on my ex-girlfriend that she took drugs or something like this, right? Or in, you know, I never told somebody about it. But now it's time that I bring up the true story, you know what I mean? Yes. And that's why I wrote this fight, you know. Even, of course, I will get from every side now punch and whatever, and look, ha ha ha, he gets cheated, ha ha ha, fuck off. From the other side, you know, I will get why he's doing this and stuff like this and blah blah blah. But I don't care about it, you know. I'm going in this fight, and if I have to die in it, you know, in this fight, you know, then this is what should happen to me. That's the point, you know. And like I said, you know, when I say all my guts standing by my side, it's well, karma, you know, karma, yeah, right? Of course. Karma is a bitch, you know, and they will the karma will come to everybody, you know. And I'm sure about it. So that's why I was writing this stuff. And even if I have to die on the fields, you know, that I say, okay, I get a fuck up situation or whatever, then well, this was my fight, and I look the death directly in the face, and I say, okay, I can do this with my pride and grace, right? And this is the point for this song, that I say, okay, now the fight is starting, and this with the album, it's just the beginning.
So I would like to ask you, is Bob Cacciones still in the band?
Bob Cacciones, he came back 2020 when we when we planned to do a new album, he said yes, we will. He will write with us songs and stuff like this, because especially me and Dominic, you know, we were writing this Bob really close, right? And Bob and we, on the musician way, you know, also on the friends way, we are crystal clear. You know, we are working in a very good mood together, and everybody knows exactly what the other guy wants and stuff like this. Of course, Bob is very busy. He has to do the productions with his wife, his Efratiki. She's a superstar in Greece, right? So he has his studio. He has meanwhile his own record label and stuff like this. And we and Bob, we worked also on this album very close together. We have with Bob a deal, you know, when Bob is not this busy, you know, he's coming with us to shows. He will go on tour, he will go on festivals and stuff like this. But if he is busy, then we have a replacement, a very good guitar player, Maurus, it's his name. And well, we will fix it somehow. But Bob will be in the band as musician, as with a songwriter and stuff like this. And we did this friendship, you know, to be based on this, so the people can be surprised. Bob is on the stage. Sometimes he's not on the stage or whatever, but we love Bob, and Bob loves us, and also in the future we will work together.
When we will publish the review from the new CD, we are going to set the poster for the Spanish tour. Is the Spanish tour still on?
This is still going on. Tomorrow I'm booking the flights. Oh. And we will do three shows now. I think one Metal Fest in Sevilla, but then we play in Madrid, and we play one on, I can't remember the name now, but this is the first step what we are doing, and we are already planning to come back in early 2023 with additional 5 shows that we can do Valladolid, we can do Barcelona, we can do Murcia and stuff like this, you know, that we can play also in Spain a lot, because we really love Spain.
Yes, because the fans want to know. No, I will try to see you in Madrid when you come, because I like this CD a lot, and I hope that you play several songs from the new CD.
We will. I'm pretty sure, and it's promised that we will play some songs of the new album as well.
If this was basically the interview, if you want to say something to say goodbye to the Spanish fan, and let me tell you, the Cuban fans too, and Latin American fans too, because you have it.
Okay, so hola and everybody, this is Mario from Sirius Black. I really looking forward to play in Spain, and we are also planning 2023 our first step to South America. So I'm really looking forward to it because I love Spain, and I never was in South America till now. I never played there. I played the whole world, but not in South America. So it's time to come there and to make there some great concerts. This would be really, really, really good. You know, yes, because I really want to love to play in Colombia, in Brazil, in Argentina. You know, I hope everybody of you will show up. And if you are interested in the story, what happened in the other songs and stuff like this, just buy the CD, listen to it on streaming on Spotify, or buy the CD, however, and be surprised, because this is actually a really tough story.
Thank you very much, Mario. Thank you for your time, your answer, your sincerity. I really appreciate that. Okay, so we are going to say goodbye. It's Tony from Made in Metal talking to Marius from Sirius Black, introducing the new CD, Vengeance is Mine. Bye, Marius.
See you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ciao.
Ciao.